Everyone, I'm El-Ruth and welcome back to my lifestyle channel. So today I want to talk about the fact that I have given up on my religion. I know that some of my subscribers might be a little bit surprised at that because, as you guys know, I don't just do law, but I also work part-time and lead at my church. So this might surprise some people, but you know, I actually already thought that I'd given up on my religion a while back, but I guess I hadn't. And I guess that like anybody who has been religious would know that it's kind of easy to slip into religious ways or slip back into religion. So yeah, I've chosen to give up on my religion, and I think it's something that I've got to keep working on to be able to fully say that yeah, I've completely given up on religion. Before I keep waffling on, let's just get straight into what triggered the events that have taken place these last few weeks / month. Okay, so about a month ago, it might be two now, I had some bad news given to me, and yeah, like that really shook me to the core, and you know, like I was obviously very upset, and I have an amazing support system, so I had loads of good Christian friends and leaders around me who were just supporting me and encouraging me, and you know, like one of the things I said to them, Lois, who is pretty much my everything, I don't know how to best describe our relationship, but yeah, I remember saying to her that look, like I'm doing everything I'm supposed to. I'm reading my Bible, I'm praying, I'm leading still at church, I am going to church, obviously going to community group and all this stuff, and I still feel empty and lethargic. A massive understatement. And you know, sometimes you go to church and you're loving the worship, not really because you're having this connection with God, but mostly because it's like upbeat music, and I hated that. Like I hated feeling that way. And yeah, so I got into a rut, and yeah, I was really down, I was really struggling, and I was really lethargic in myself, like not physically tired, but exhausted spiritually and emotionally. And anyway, like a couple of weeks ago, I went to a conference, and I went to the conference on my own, and I remember just thinking to myself, look, I honestly can't do this. It was a Christian conference. I can't do this anymore, because you know, where every single time that I was reading my Bible and going to church because that's what I'm supposed to do, just feels like a religion. Like a religion is all about what you things that you should do and what qualifies you and disqualifies you for certain reason. It's trying to constantly reach this standard, unachievable standard that you'll never be able to do, and it's like a ritual. Like I get into a routine. I get up, I read my Bible, I plan a talk for the young adults group that I lead. I do all these things because that is our place, that oh, this is what I'm meant to do as a good Christian. And when things get tough, which is really when it's only when things get hard that things come to surface that you're not actually coping okay. Is when you realize actually, like this is just like a religion to me right now. Anyway, so I went to this conference and I said to God, I was just like, look, I cannot go back home the way I came, like, and I'm not going to do this anymore. Basically, I didn't know what I was going to do afterwards, whether I was going to come back and still work for church. I don't know, but like I just can't do this whole religious thing. Is like without the presence of God, like I'm not going to have it anymore. I remember last year I read some of the Psalms, in fact a lot of the Psalms, and David is saying how like his soul longs and thirsts for God. And I remember last year thinking like that's not really like me. Like I love Jesus, I love talking to God and all that stuff, but I wouldn't really describe my relationship with God, this is like a year ago, as like, oh my goodness, like all my innermost being thirsts for him. But honestly, about a month ago, that is where or the last few weeks, that's where I'd come to, like, look, I can't do this anymore without you. I'm not going to keep reading my Bible except you speak to me. I'm not going to just keep leading knowing that I haven't got this daily connection with you right now, so I cannot leave the same, you know. It's you or nothing. And I remember like so I've been reading Moses recently, no, not Moses, I've been reading Exodus recently, and Moses was saying, it was about something about the presence of God, and he was saying, I'll put the verse down below, that look, like I cannot, if your presence doesn't go with us, don't send us anywhere. And that is the point I've come to, is that if you're not going to do this with me, if I'm not going to know that you're with me every single step of the way, I'm not going to do this anymore. Like I'm just not. I'm not saying church is bad, and I'm not saying small groups, and I'm not saying having a daily routine with God, because every routine helps people, is bad. But I'm saying doing all those things without the presence of God just becomes a religion. And for me, that was not enough. I'm sick and tired. I was frustrated in myself with settling for anything else than the fullness of God. And maybe it took that desperateness of just like, look, I've had enough of this, for me to then have this encounter, an intimate experience, even more so with God, because I do believe that, like this passage describes it as, that we have like behold and becoming seasons. There are times when we behold, so like we experience and just look, stand in awe of the glory of God, and just encounter and know more about Him, and we're just learning so much about Him. And then we go to a process of becoming. So through that, through beholding something of God, we then become more like Him. One of the things I'm realizing is that actually those behold moments can happen more often, you know. Like I think sometimes we think we have to go away to this a conference, or we have to go and do this inner healing thing, or we have to go and do a training before we then have this amazing encounter, and then we kind of run with that. Or like, let me explain it like this. Some people always say that church is like this gas station where you fill up and then you go, and then you have to come in again to fill up. And I'm sick of that, okay? Like I'm sick of that analogy, because we should be I should be able to continually feed from God. What happens is, where if I end up in a place where I can't go to church or something, am I just going to run dry, you know? So like, I need that level of intimacy where I could continually fill up from God day by day, and getting myself into a religious routine wasn't enough for me. So just like I've given up with that, you know. And sometimes I used to beat myself up over the fact that, you know, I prefer listening to the Bible. And I was like, oh, some people read the Bible, they're so holy, like they get it in their hands, they read it. And that was one. And so I used to get up and I used to struggle and I used to read the Bible, just because I thought that was the thing I was supposed to do. Whereas now I just listen to the Bible all the time. In fact, I listen to it more than that, because I'm just chill, because it's just me and God. I think sometimes for those of us who work in church or work in ministry, sometimes I think we end up turning our relationship with God into a religion. Like we think we're reading the Bible so much because we're actually planning talks for people, we're giving talks or whatever, but like that isn't really reading your Bible for yourself and for your own growth. And you know, we're always praying, but we're usually praying for the people, not praying just to communicate and chat with God, you know. And we're always doing church stuff, so we think we're always growing in our Christian faith, and that really isn't the case, I found. Yeah, so I've worked for church or in ministry, whatever you want to call it, for about 2 years now, and I've learnt in this last process that actually my relationship with God cannot be something that I do. It cannot, like my just because I work in the Christian bubble, as I like to call it, I need to be more conscious that that isn't taking over my life, because then it does almost just become a religion. It becomes something I do, not because who I am. I am a daughter of the King. It's me and Him all the time. All the time, all the time, all the time. Whether I'm spending my Mondays to Fridays in church, or whether I'm spending my Mondays to Fridays in a law office, it's got to be me and Him all the time. And it's got to be a relationship, because I just, like, I'm fed up of religion. One of the things that helps me is to think, you know, am I as close to God as I am with my mum, who I love? I tell her everything. Mum, I love you, you're incredible, you're a world changer, I want to be just like you when I grow up, you're incredible. Or am I as close to God as, you know, my best friend, or one of my best friends? And that really helps me, you know, to be like, you know, this is the level of intimacy I have with my best friend or my mum. I should be striving for even more of a level of intimacy as I have with God. Because here's the thing that I realized, is that I started to treat God the way that I treated my favorite teacher, who was actually Francis Blackmore at school. You are the best teacher in the world. But like in the sense of like, it's like, okay, God, here's the problem I have. Do you have a solution for it? Or God, what's the next task that you want me to do? Or all this stuff. So it was just back and forth like that. But just like I wouldn't go to my favorite teacher about like my personal, most intimate heartbreaks, I found myself sometimes not going to God for things like that, because I hadn't yet cultivated that, you know, father-daughter relationship with God. And that is the most important thing, because I am a daughter of the King, a daughter. He's not my teacher. He teaches me, but like, our relationship doesn't just stop at teacher-student, you know. There is a part of me, of my soul, of my heart, that longs to know more of God as my Father. This is a bit of a waffly, chatty video. I don't even know if it was coherent. I guess I'll soon find out. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and let's continue the discussion down below. If you aren't yet subscribed, then click that subscribe button, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.